So the next movie that even comes close to it, just because it's a Marvel movie, is Thunderbolts. But
Boy,
you know,
I'm still thinking that's gonna really struggle.
can we talk about that for a moment?
Sure.
It's just me and you. I don't have to deal. I don't have to wrestle you away from your girlfriend or anything. We can actually have a conversation.
Yet.
Um, okay. Uh, Thunderbolts is supposed to be this like celebration of the last 5 years of Marvel.
What a terrible. What are you celebrating?
Well, let's track this, okay? So we have Ghost, who was from an Ant-Man and the Wasp movie that you kept screaming, "This is a nothing movie," and tearing out you. When I met Robert, he had a full head of hair. After that
True.
podcast, granted, it was all audio. It was all audio, but I could see him do it. He pulled out all of his hair, screaming, "This is a nothing movie! It's a nothing
I did
movie!"
not.
It was one of the rare fights that we've had where I was mad at you for that. But my point is,
It was a nothing movie. I'll stand by that assessment of it. Go back and rewatch it.
I remember that movie because I remember that fight. Do I remember Ghost? No, because she wasn't a memorable character. She that was Ant-Man and the Wasp was one of those like forgettable Marvel movies in between Endgame and fucking Infinity War. And it was one of the few that didn't make $1 billion. Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Black Panther made $1 million. And somewhere in there is Ant-Man and the Wasp just kind of kicking rocks. Like I don't remember,
Well,
I don't think it did poorly, but it didn't do those numbers.
well, Black Panther comes out before Infinity War, if memory serves. Not long before it, but
It was that year.
yeah, because it's Black. It was like Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, Endgame, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm. So Ant-Man and the Wasp is it's the same year because you'll remember the stinger at the end of it. It comes out like I think July of that year because Infinity War was May. That was the big May release, and then July was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, and its stinger was Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, and then a question mark.
Right. Yeah. Well, everyone got dusted while Scott Lang was in the Quantum Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it came out July 6th of 2018, made 622 million. So that actually underperforms. That a $200 million budget.
It was still profitable, but it wasn't.
But it should have done north of 700 million, and it didn't even do that much. My point being that so one of the characters in the Thunderbolts is Ghost. Ghost was the villain in that movie. No one has not in the 5 years since Endgame, and not in the 7 years since Ant-Man and the Wasp has anyone seen hide or hair of fucking Ghost. So there's one character nobody gives a shit about. Then we have...
Hey, Mark, they're still trying to make Yelena Belova a thing. They're still desperately trying. Nobody cares.
So we see her in Black Widow, and then she shows up again in Hawkeye,
which nobody saw.
She might be the only character that anyone gives a shit about of this entire, besides Bucky.
Bucky's it.
Okay.
You want to know the tier list for how much for the characters in this movie people care about?
Mm-hmm.
It's Bucky, it's David Harbour, and it's everybody else. That's it.
Here's the point that I'm trying to make. That's why I want to go through this one by one, if you'll let me. Okay. Because this is supposed to be the Avengers. Hear me out. The Avengers, the original 2012 one, was Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and 2 add-ons. And the Hulk. Okay? And it's supposed to be like, look, we did an Iron Man movie. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. Because we rushed the second one into production. We have Captain America. We have Thor. We have Black Widow, who we introduced in Iron Man 2. We have Hawkeye, who was there.
Briefly saw in Thor, but look, people like Jeremy Renner and people like the character, so we'll go with it.
Right. And so here's this big fuck all celebration of these previous movies. Hooray! That's one of the reasons why the Avengers did as well as it did. It was a coming together of various characters from various movies in one super movie. That's what Thunderbolts is supposed to be. A coming together of various characters introduced in phases 4 and 5 post-Endgame, so 2020 and on. Except that this has been such an abysmal failure as I am trying to lay out. So we have this 7 fucking years ago with Ghost. Who cares? Then you have Taskmaster, who everyone fucking hated from Black Widow. You have Yelena, again from the same movie, but at least showed up again in Hawkeye.
And again, nobody likes Yelena. She's not like as because her character was not destroyed the way that Taskmaster was, going from woman to man in the suit, like you can clearly tell it's kind of bad filmmaking, but
the whole movie was so awful.
it really is. It's terrible. So people don't have that level of resentment for Yelena because she's not that dissimilar from her comic counterpart. She's not 1-to-1, but it's close enough-ish. But people don't like Yelena because all she is like bad Joss Whedon writing. It's a lot of fourth wall winks.
So then you have Red Guardian, who hasn't shown back up again since Black Widow, which I will remind people was 2020 fucking one. So there's that. All right, Bucky's been in a bunch of things. He showed up in Brave New World. He was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What else was he in?
All the Captain America movies.
Well, no, I mean since then. Basically, he's a character that this is one of the few characters that has at least been popping up here and there, so he hasn't been completely forgotten about. He's not.
Well, he's the only one of this group who has ties to when the movies didn't suck.
Good.
So
point.
that's more where we're getting him. Like, hey, remember Bucky? You like Bucky? Yeah, we kind of like Bucky.
And then I think that's and then John Walker from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who we haven't seen since. Okay, then they're introducing new characters like Sentry. So again, even if you're like, okay, we need to draw from, because let's go through this, right? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Black Widow, The Eternals, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder. You're
listing just a bunch of terrible movies.
Ant-Man, Quantumania. Well, my point is, if you're trying to do Thunderbolts as a celebration of phases 4 and 5 of bringing together vast and sundry characters that we know and love, nobody from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, nobody from Thor: Love and Thunder.
Nobody cared about Wakanda Forever anyway. There's no decent characters there to bring
nobody
in.
from Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Disappointment. Let's see.
Well, yeah, because everyone from that was some alteration, and we're not going to pay for Benedict Cumberbatch. We're not even going to pay for Wong to show up.
Nobody from Quantumania, the third Ant-Man
which
movie.
Nobody liked anyway, but still.
Well, that's neither here nor there. For the point that I'm trying to make is you have introduced no characters. Like half of this fucking team is from one movie.
Or one TV show. Like it's stupid.
And that's another thing. So now you have all these TV shows. You have Moon Knight, She-Hulk, you have Ms. Marvel, and none of these people are appearing in this fucking movie.
Because nobody cares about the IP that they were a part of.
They didn't know that when they wrote it. So, and
they should have.
So again, and even if you're trying to do like, well, this is the Suicide Squad thing, Mark. You don't understand. They're trying to do Suicide Squad here. Great. Where are all the villain characters from any of these movies besides Ghost from 7 years ago and Taskmaster from the stupid Black Widow movie that nobody cared about?
That nobody saw.
Wait, where's your hero? Where's Namor? Okay, or Namor? Where's he at? Here's the thing, and I hate to be this pedantic about it, but Thunderbolts was named after General Thunderbolt Ross. The Red Hulk, who was in the fucking Captain America movie we just saw.
Yep.
Would it not have made more sense to have him in this movie?
Mark, how can you ask this thing to make sense?
There's an iteration of Thunderbolts that is Red Hulk, Deadpool, Punisher, Agent Venom, I think U.S. Agent. I don't remember anymore. I know they can't do Venom, but would it not have made more sense to make this look at least passingly familiar, like any iteration of the actual Thunderbolts? I know that's a rhetorical question. So,
well, the probability of generating enough interest in those particular characters, moreover, trying to do anything actually comic accurate at this point is antithetical to the mission of whoever is behind the MCU.
So they failed. So they can't construct a team of characters anyone cares about. They can't construct characters that have even been popping up over the last 5 years. It's like
you can't get characters that people actually like.
Bucky
or care about.
Bucky aside, who is the most recent character to show up in this movie?
In a movie?
Yeah. I'll take a movie or a television show. Because I think the answer is Yelena, right?
If you go or television show, because
Bucky
Yelena's
is
in
fine.
Hawkeye.
Right.
Didn't what's her nuts? Because Julia Louis-Dreyfus is
I don't
taking
care
affairs.
about her. Nobody else does either. I'm talking the actual heroes of this team.
I feel like Red Guardian was in something else.
I don't think so. Not since Black Widow.
You're probably right. Because John Walker hasn't been seen since Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Right, which is 2021. Yelena hasn't been seen since Hawkeye, which was 2021.
And was a TV show nobody watched.
So,
but that probably is the last time any of these heroes, well, again, apart from Bucky and Brave New World, yeah.
Right. So you're telling me that your big Avengers thing, your big Suicide Squad project,
well, your big team up movie, it's
made up of people who haven't been seen for 4 years.
Pretty much.
This is such a monumental blunder in development.
Oh yeah.
Like, I know, like, you've been down on this for a while now, and I was like, well, I think Thunderbolts will be better. Then I saw who was in Thunderbolts, and I went, how'd you fuck this up? How do you not have characters that go, that have peppered the entire 5 years? Like we forgot what we were doing after 2021. And
They'd like to forget everything after 2021.
And I guess somebody would be saying, well, they had to go into development at some point. And at some point, you gotta draw a hard line. So you drew it 4 years ago? That's it? That's the story here?
Well, they drew it 2 years ago and assumed things were going to go better.
Yeah, well, again, they should have reached back. I don't even know who you'd pull at this point, though. You can't. Like, Moon Knight doesn't really fit in. She-Hulk doesn't really fit in, and they didn't establish good villains in either one of those shows.
To the extent that those shows had any degree of success, no.
Yeah.
Hang on. So, as a brief thought exercise, let's try to give these people a little grace.
Sure.
A little grace. Mark, the year of our Lord is 2020. It's the start of 2024.
Hang on,
okay?
I'm pulling up the beginning of development with Thunderbolts, so we have at least a time frame to work through.
Yeah, so look that up first, real fast.
Okay. Pre-production. In early September of 2022, Justin Kroll of Deadline Hollywood described the film as a spin-off for Belova because she was expected to lead the anti-hero team. Yada yada yada. By the end of September 22, journalists said Harrison Ford was Marvel's okay. God damn it. Somebody joined all right, so it looks like by the end of 2022, they were more or less developing this to be a movie they could actually release. And it was supposed and I want to say this is another one that was supposed to be in 2024, but it was
probably
kicked to survive till 25.
So hang on. So here's how I'm going to pose our scenario here.
Mm-hmm.
It is the year of our Lord, end of 23, start of 24. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's realized that this is not going well. So they come to you and me and they go, make the Thunderbolts. You have to draw on characters from this time period and your villain is Sentry.
Okay.
As a serious note, like, what do we do? If again, we're not doing the silly, Thor can show up, and we're not doing that. That's beyond that's beyond the parameters. They say make a Thunderbolts movie. You can draw from characters in the TV shows or the movies from from Phase 4 through about what they have now. What do we do? What is the roster that you and I hypothetically pitched to them as here's the characters?
So here's everything that was in Phase 4, just so we have timing. Okay. Yeah. We have Black Widow, which is again already what they did.
Okay, hang on. Here's the other caveat I have to impose on us because this is what came. There was an editorial mandate. Yelena Belova has to be in charge.
Yeah, and I just read that. So let's for the sake of argument say this is supposed to, as I just read, they say make the Thunderbolts. Yelena has to be in it. She's the star. Fine.
Got it. Make every 5 minutes we've got a different executive coming up. Hey, make Yelena look strong.
We must know what Yelena is doing at all times. All right. So this was the Phase 4 roster of movies: Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And again, using this timeline, which somewhat makes me a little bit more sympathetic to the argument, we can't do anything past Wakanda Forever. It won't exist. So it's either characters that haven't been introduced yet or characters that existed up to the end of 2022, which brings us to these are the television series. WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and She-Hulk, which debuted October of 2022. So that's it. That's all we have to work with.
Yeah, again, that's all terrible. So hang on.
So you keep saying.
So this is why I said, like, they've tried this. They know it's not going well. We're going to try and redo it. We're going to try and retool it. So that's why I said end of 23.
Mm-hmm.
So what comes out between 2020, what comes out in 2023 / very early 24? If we're in the machinery of this, we know like the first 2 movies for 24, hypothetically.
Okay, so if you're asking what came out in 2023, working backwards, it was the Marvels, it was Guardians of the Galaxy, and Quantumania.
Okay. So what did we add meaningfully that we could draw from there if we're trying to put together a Thunderbolts team?
Nothing from Quantumania, for sure.
Okay.
From Guardians of the Galaxy, nothing.
Okay.
And then from the Marvels, nothing.
Okay. So we're still at this point.
Or from the Ms. Marvel TV show, which I really quickly want to see which TV shows.
Yeah, do the TV real fast.
Yeah, I got to look at Phase 5 now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going MCU Phase 5. Okay. So the television shows that were just in 2023 in Phase 5 were, God damn it, Secret Invasion,
Nothing.
Loki Season 2, What If
Nothing.
Season 2.
Nothing.
And that's it.
Okay, so in theory, there might be something from Secret Invasion we could draw on, right? But What If is useless. Loki Season 2 is useless to us. Just useless.
Right.
So, again, I'm going to put forth the notion that whoever put this together, one, does it suck? Yes. Boy, does it suck. But given the parameters imposed on these people, well, let's go back for just a second here. Who from Shang-Chi is even remotely applicable?
Nobody. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Did they kill the one guy with the saw hand? I don't remember anymore.
Probably. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
The closest you could get is Shang-Chi's sister. Maybe.
Yeah,
if you want to break the bank, you can get a Ben Kingsley cameo.
Well, okay, so by that logic, you could have used Baron, and people were actually pissed that he's not on the Thunderbolts team, is Zemo.
Zemo's probably the only notable exclusion from this.
Yeah, so basically what you have to work with is Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow.
For the most part, yeah, because again, you're not getting anything out of Thor: Love and Thunder. You're not, unless you want to do a Matt Damon cameo.
So throw Ghost out. Let's get rid of Ghost. Let's get rid of Taskmaster. Keep Yelena, keep Red Guardian. Keep John Walker.
Keep Bucky.
Keep Bucky. Add the Red Hulk. And
you can't add Red Hulk
and Zemo.
Again, unfortunately, because of when this went in, you can't use Red Hulk.
I'm curious. Who else was in the Thunderbolts in the comics?
Oh, the Thunderbolts has a weird history.
So the original Thunderbolts, Zemo, Goliath.
Which is a Hawkeye alter ego.
Or like I said, in the movies, it's Lawrence Fishburne. Beetle, Moonstone, Songbird, Techno, Hawkeye. Charcoal, Ogre, Amazon, Cyclone, Harrier. Okay, none of those people. Thunderbolts 2, Blizzard, Photon, Speed Demon, Radioactive Man, Nighthawk. Thunderbolts Army is a long list of people I'm not reading. Thunderbolts 3 is Green Goblin, Moonstone, Bullseye, Penance, Radioactive Man, Songbird, Swordsman, and Venom. Thunderbolts 4, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Paladin, Ghost, Headsman, Mr. X, Scourge, and Grizzly. Thunderbolts 5, Luke Cage. Could have used him. Crossbones.
I don't know. How are you feeling about non-Daredevil Netflix stuff? That seems a little sketchy.
I mean, it would be better than what they've done.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, again, we have to pitch this and get them to sign off on it.
Crossbones is dead now, right?
I would assume, given that he blew up in Avengers 2.
Let's see, Juggernaut,
Or Civil
Man-Thing,
War, sorry.
Hyperion, yeah. Okay, I'm not reading that. Okay, so this is the one that I was thinking of before. Red Hulk, Deadpool, Elektra, Punisher, Agent Venom, Red Leader, Mercy, and Ghost Rider. Hey, there is a Ghost Rider they could have used.
I don't know that you really want to try and tap into Robbie Reyes here.
So anyway, to wrap this up, because we've been at this a while now, we're almost at 2 hours. There were, I guess, the moral of this story is this is the least worst team they could cobble together from what they had, but what they had wasn't very good, and they probably shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, look, if you can't go back and like get someone that fans actually care about to attach to this, again, I think ideally you could probably, again, there's reasons you can't use Hawkeye beyond we're not sure what to do with the character, like Jeremy Renner getting run over by a snowcat. Like, so he's a little bit unavailable, little bit. And we wish him well in his recovery. Like, we like Jeremy Renner here.
Well, again, so an all-villain team up like a Suicide Squad, you have to actually have villains that didn't die, and Marvel tends to kill all their villains. It's how Ghost ended up on. It's the one villain they didn't kill. That's how Ghost ended up on this team.
Pretty much the only one that her and Zemo. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else.
Again, they could have also gotten, Sharon Carter's niece.
Nobody cares about her.
What was she in fucking Falcon and the Winter Soldier? She's the bondsman, the Barry bondsman, the bald man.
The broker.
The broker, that's it.
Pretty sure it's broker.
Yeah.
Ugh. Hey, remember when she turned heel at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier and was never seen again? Remember that, Mark?
They did nothing with it. Yeah, I remember.
I'm not sad to not see Emily Van Cant act anymore, but like, you're setting up a thing that doesn't go anywhere. That's just bad structure.
All right. Ready to move on?
So yeah, my point there. Oh, and by the way, the brain trust that got together and set this up decided this group of normal people. You know how many of these people have powers, Mark?
I mean, John Walker has a super soldier serum, and Ghost has...
Did he actually? I can't remember. Did he actually take it near the end?
I believe he does, yes. He's got the super soldier serum.
Okay.
Ghost has powers, which I thought... I thought the whole thing with Ghost powers is that it was killing her.
It was, but then they stabilized them.
Okay, well, Taskmaster has a kind of power.
Has a suit more than anything else, and brain damage because autism
Bucky
is
has
special.
a super soldier serum and a special arm. Red Guardian has a super soldier serum.
Hang on, Guardian I don't know had serum. I know he's got something, but like he has the discount bargain basement.
Yeah, they have a whole conversation about it in the trailer.
Again, he's got a bad version of it. He was part of preparation A through G. Is the equivalent of what he's got.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of people whose best power on the team outside of Ghost is that they can punch stuff really hard.
And what villain should this group of people take on, Mark?
This world's version of Superman.
I mean, the trailer shows him doing the release of like energy that turns people into is wiping them out and leaving shadows on the ground where they were.
Sentry, the way they've done him in the trailers, looks like he's a character that would feel more at home in The Boys.
I'm gonna have to wait and yell about Sentry till we see what he actually looks like, and I don't mean physically. I mean like what is the character in that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know why people hate that character. I kind of like him, and it's worth having a discussion about. But at the moment, we'd be speculating a bit too much.
Yep. In any case, I wanted to have a conversation about how ridiculous this Thunderbolts team is, but whether or not it is successful remains to be seen. Odd choice for them to do an A24 type trailer for that movie. Like what? How many fucking kids are watching A24 movies?
Nobody knows what to do with Marvel. Doesn't know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah, they are definitely flailing about.